Hello and a really warm welcome back to the channel, and I'm pleased to be up in the loft making a new upload. And if you saw the brief short I put on the other evening, you'll know I've been playing with this Seuthe smoke unit. Now when we ran the R150 from the RS29 set last time, I was really pleased to see it had got a smoke unit in it, so I thought it'd be nice to get it going. Now, the thing called the smoke pipe was missing. I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. Let's put some power on. Now, I've already had this running, so it's not cold. Now, these smoke units do like a little bit of speed, so when we get it on the main layout, I'm sure there'll be some super fast Tri-ang running, but let's just hold something behind that. Can you see the smoke coming out? It's quite good, isn't it? So a stream of smoke, the odd occasional puff. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a bit of fun with this shortly. But we will take a little bit of a quick look at the unit, but I'm going to just turn it down now. There we go. They really do perform well when they get hot. Now, I've got a digital thermometer here. It doesn't perform great on camera, but when I can hold it next to this smoke unit off camera, I can see that it gets very hot. So big word of warning, you know, don't get your fingers on this when it's been running or get plastic near it, because it can get to the point where it would melt plastic, and of course that would burn your finger. So these were made in a day when a little bit more common sense reigned, so just be careful if you're new to this, because to generate the smoke, we've got an electric element in this smoke unit, and it's a bit like an electric fire. It gets incredibly hot. Now, I've just printed out to show you these excellent sheets. Now look, smoke unit R.520, that's what we've got in there. You can see it's got a separate number, X430. There's loads of bits there. The spring, the S3377 is only required in some chassis, some it fits into holes like the B12. The other things of note are the S5994, which is a smoke pipe, and the cleaner for that, the S5995. Now, the smoke pipe is incredibly small. I'm not going to take it out. It was lost in this unit. It sits right in the centre and threads down. It's about an inch long, or sort of 25 mil, perhaps a bit longer, and it is indeed very delicate. Now, I've got 2 or 3 of these smoke units. They're all missing smoke pipes, so I decided to fabricate my own. If you look at figure 4, you can just see the smoke pipe being fitted with some tweezers. So I found out that if you can get your hands on a 0.5 millimeters, that's a half a millimeter hypodermic needle, you can shape it into a smoke pipe, and it fits and works really well, maybe as you've just seen. So your smoke unit isn't dead if you haven't got a smoke pipe. Now, here's a few other bits and bobs. This is a syringe that has a blunt needle on it that I use, similar to the ones you fill printer cartridges with. Well, I find that a great thing to put smoke oil into these engines. Look at that lovely little item. That's an original funnel. Let's go back to the service sheet. That's S6032. And look at these. Here's some smoke oil capsules. So look, beautiful. This is a yellow one. I've collected a few together. That says Tri-ang Seuthe smoke, and that's West Germany. So I think that was made for Tri-ang. And look, here's one with red ink on. I've only found 3 variations so far, and a couple with blue on, but they're lovely items, and they seem to really stand the test of time. They've been sealed up for many years. I don't intend to use these. I'm just keeping them in the collection. Now, if you're interested, I'm sure a few people will start shouting at me in a minute, because they'll say, don't use it, don't use it. But liquid paraffin, or a certain oil for very, very small young children or people, you all know what I'm talking about. It's Johnson's baby oil. That seems to make a jolly good smoke fluid. Now, I know some people say that it's got other items in it and it might be bad for you if you breathe it in. Well, I suggest you don't breathe the smoke in too readily. All of these smoke fluids do give off some vapor. Now, I would probably avoid using the newer type of e-cigarette fluid. Now, I haven't experimented with it yet. I'm going to, but I do understand it's a bit viscous, and it's not a mineral oil. It's made of other things, some sort of glycerin. I just don't know how suitable it would be. But anyway, we have seen this R50 from last week is back to life. So now, while the camera's rolling, I'm going to try and get the other one on. So let's just have a look. It's not easy picking up these chassis while I'm trying to film, but if I could get the R50S, I put one of these little rolling road bits by the bogie so it doesn't swing round. Now, there's a little bit of oil in that. Let's see. It might take some while to get going, but I'm going to start the engine. So put it up to full power, and then hopefully we'll get some action. And already I can see now, of course, with the Synchros smoke, we've got that piston working. Now, if you look at the left-hand corner of the red box I'm holding, there's a gear, and that powers a piston, and that's why we've got a synchronized smoke emission. And it looks pretty good, doesn't it? So that's a very similar unit. It doesn't have a smoke pipe. It just relies on a sort of cartridge type. I'm just going to turn this down. A cartridge type element that fits in to the smoke unit itself. I think we'll probably look at these in more detail in another video because there's a few of them. Now, what you can do to improve the performance of this particular smoke unit is just this lid does come off, and the smoke can often leak out and really get on the underside of the body. So what I tend to do is just put a very small amount of foam safe gel. So it's like it's a foam safe glue. It's not quite PVA, but it peels off really easily, and I just put a small amount around it, press it down, and it stops the smoke leaking out all of the cracks. You do sometimes find the smoke sort of comes out of the back of the piston, but anyway, they're just things of their time, aren't they? Excellent fun, and just, you know, something that Tri-ang brought to the model world right from the late 50s, early 60s onwards. Now look, here's another sheet I printed off because this is just very interesting. It's instructions for fitting to locomotives produced before the 1st of January 61, and it shows lots of modifications. So look, it's telling you to drill out your blanked off chimney. It shows you how to modify the chassis and make it possible to put one of these smoke units into a loco that wasn't ever necessarily designed for one. So this is back in the day when Tri-ang even seemed to encourage you to sort of reverse engineer older things and bring them up into the modern world. Okay, well, that's enough of me going on about that. I think you've seen both these smoke units work. I'm going to get these onto the main layout in a minute, and we'll end the video just watching them go round at quite tremendous speed, hopefully generating smoke. Now, if you did watch last week, you might remember I said I was going to look at the Class 20 because we'd got trouble with the traction tyres. Now, let's see if I can get those into focus. There's two traction tyres, and look, they look pretty manky, don't they? They've all gone soft and disintegrated. Well, I think we're going to do that in a separate video because I've just got something else to show you. So that's the Hornby 002 rail Class 20. It was left on the layout and the tyres have deteriorated, but over the summer I picked up one of these. This is a Ren W230. This is the next generation of the Hornby 00 model. So let me just open the box off camera and I'll give you a quick look over this loco. Now this, I haven't had it running yet, The box has got the instruction sheets, no tissue, but the packing rings, it's in quite nice condition. So let's take a quick look at this. To all intents and purposes, it's the same body. There's some quite noticeable corrosion on the handrail, so I might remove those and clean them up, but the rest of the body is in excellent condition. No sort of chewing about by the retaining screw. And let's have a look underneath. Well, this one you can see slightly different. I won't go into great detail in this video, but we do have 2 traction tyres on one side and plastic side frames now, and one is broken, so that will require repairing. But let's just hold them side by side. So here's the Ren item, and I'll just reach over and pick up the Hornby 001. They've both got the same running number, but yeah, so we've got old and new. And I think in the next video we're going to take a closer look at these 2 marvellous locos and get them running on the main layout. So I hope you come back and watch that once it's produced and uploaded. But right now I'm going to put these 2 B12s back together and get them on the main layout, and we'll have some high-speed smoke in action. Okay, well, I've got these locos onto the main lines, and I'm just running the Synchros smoke unit at a slower speed. We'll just leave that going round because the one I really am interested in is the Seuthe one. So here's the old set from last week, and I'm putting the power in. So I'm going to get this up to a high speed, a nice Tri-ang speed. And let's see whether we can get smoke. Well, I do believe we are starting to get some fairly decent smoke. Now I've just put a little bit more power on. I don't know whether I dare go much faster. The passengers are clinging on to their armrests. Look at this though. Definitely a nice amount of smoke coming out of that unit. There's no doubt that 1950s and 1960s Tri-ang items were all about fun. Look at that, it's pouring out. The fireman is on, well, he's working really hard, isn't he? He's on fire, I was going to say, but perhaps not. Okay, let's put some speed into the Synchros smoke unit and see whether we can get some smoke out of the newer layout. I'm sorry if this is driving you dizzy. I'll try and keep the camera fairly steady. Now, as yet, there is smoke I can see with my naked eye coming out of the Synchros smoke unit, but it doesn't compete with the smoke coming out of the Seuthe unit. There's only one thing for it: more power. Right, so we are breaking all the speed records on the layout now. I do think that maybe the Seuthe unit is now running low on smoke fluid, so I'm going to slow that one down and we'll concentrate on yeah, there is a few puffs coming out of the Synchros smoke now. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to catch that. Let's see if we can see it coming towards us. Not the easiest thing to film, but to the naked eye we do have a little bit of smoke. I'm going to slow right down the Seuthe item. Oh, my camera's playing up a bit there, sorry about that. Okay, it's probably all the high speed action, shaking it around a bit. Okay. Well, I think we'll get some more reasonable running now. and enjoy watching these two Tri-ang locos going around, not necessarily smoking. So here comes the later model, and that's pulling those really bright coaches. And then let's just get the set from last week up to speed. Little bit of wheel slip there, but there we go. So we calm things down a bit, and it's great to have a bit of fun with these B12s on the layout. I mean, the smoke is just probably a bit of a gimmick, isn't it? It's fun, and I bet it's great for just a minute or two, but really when it comes to more reasonable running, it's not that practical. Now, a few of you are saying, I wonder what would happen if you put some sort of resistor to the motor so you could keep the voltage high, get more smoke. I think that's possible, but the first thing that comes into my mind is the resistor might get very hot, and where to put it safely. Just look at this lovely 1960s R.150 set running now. Got that buffet coach in there. It's really going round beautifully, isn't it? And doesn't it look good on the main layout? I think I'm going to slow the Synchros smoke unit, the R.150 down, and leave it in the main station at the back, and we'll just finish off this video enjoying last week's items around the main lines. I think one word of advice would be, if you're having fun with your smoke units, just allocate and spend a little bit of time after your running session just to take the body shell off, clean up any residue. Just be careful what you use if you've got any smoke oil on the body. I don't know what I'd recommend actually, certainly nothing too harsh. Probably just try and wipe it off with a very soft lint-free rag. I mean, these items over the years have been subject to over-oiling sometimes and other things, but don't get carried away rubbing around where there's any lining or numbers, because it's always a shame if something comes off. But just make sure there's no splodges or dots. They can easily be wiped off. But check out those lovely coaches. Now, from memory, is it the R628 is the buffet, and then the other two, 627, 626. I really do like this colour scheme. I think it's subdued. It goes well with other period Tri-ang items, and I love the way it looks on the main line. So I do think I shall be keeping this R.150 set out and enjoying it for a bit longer. Well, I hope you've liked looking at these items. We've had a bit of fun with the smoke units. I think we will get the other loco out and running again, and I'll just give you a few more circuits of both locos running. So next week, all being well, we'll have a bit of fun with those Class 20s, Ren and Hornby 00. So I'm looking forward to that. I had some great suggestions for tyres to try. I do have some in stock, but I've made a note of the ones that were suggested to me. So we'll use up the ones I've got, and then in the future try out ones by the other manufacturer. But once again, thanks for all the marvellous comments. I really enjoy reading all of them. There's some great ideas and suggestions, and it's good to know that you like seeing these uploads. So until the next video and those Class 20s, I'll leave you with these two Tri-ang R.150 B12s, and I'll say goodbye.